It was the first day of Operation Kwami, and Tikki was getting nervous. What if she messed up? What if Plag forgot everything they talked about last night? Tikki was starting to feel a little queasy and slightly lightheaded as she thought about the plan for the 50th time that day. She was starting to second-guess the plan. She wondered if it would actually help Marinette or just make things worse. Tikki was shaken out of her thought by a loud ringing. The school bell had chimed its last note, signaling that students could go home. Was it the end of the day already? Tikki felt herself shift in Marinette's handbag as Marinette stood up to gather her things. Tikki heard the door swing open, and she could hear Marinette's footsteps as she walked down the hall, heading towards the stairs that led to the courtyard. Tikki knew from previous days that Marinette always took this route to get to the front of the school. Tikki peeked out of Marinette's handbag as soon as Marinette got to the stairs and started to walk down them. She let out a nervous sigh as she looked around frantically until she spotted Adrien. Adrien Agreste was at the bottom of the stairs, looking at his phone and typing quickly. Tikki looked up at her owner, who was looking down at her feet and blushing. Tikki started to buzz with excitement. This was it. Plag really had been listening last night. Adrien was exactly where he should be, and now it was up to Tikki. She flew up quickly to Marinette's ear and tried to stay hidden. "Tikki, what are you doing?" Marinette asked, alarmed at Tikki's sudden appearance. "Marinette, I'm sorry," Tikki whispered. "Sorry? About what?" Marinette felt something hit the back of her knee, making her legs buckle. She lost her balance and tumbled down the remaining stairs. She felt a sharp pain in her knee as she hit the last stair and crashed into Adrien. Adrien gave a surprised yelp as he and Marinette both toppled to the floor. Marinette, being dazed from the fall, was confused. Did she hit someone? She looked up, still dizzy, and gasped. She was looking into the shining green eyes of Cat Noir, who gave her a smile and winked. Marinette blinked. She was still looking into green eyes, but they were different. They were Adrien's. Oh gosh. She had landed on top of Adrien, and she was so close to his face. He was looking at her with a worried and a confused smile. "You okay, Marinette? That was quite a fall," Adrien chuckled. "I'm fine, Adrien," Marinette squeaked and blushed as she realized she was still sitting on top of Adrien. She quickly scrambled off. Blushing furiously, she tried to apologize. "Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry, Adrien. I didn't see you, and then I fell. Oh gosh, I can't believe that just happened. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any harm." Marinette realized that Adrien was giving her a quizzical look, and her face grew even hotter. "What I mean is, basically, I'm sorry. Are you okay?" Adrien, hearing Marinette speak to him directly, blinked as if coming out of a daze, and smiled. Marinette felt her heart rate speed up. "I'm fine, Marinette. Nothing's broken," Adrien replied. Marinette nodded her head in relief. "Thank goodness. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Must have tripped over my own feet," Marinette mumbled and glared down at Tikki, who was hiding in Marinette's handbag once again. Adrien smiled. He knew Marinette was a bit clumsy and didn't mean any harm. "It's okay, Marinette. I'm not hurt. No harm done," Adrien replied. He stood up and offered a hand to Marinette to help her up. Marinette blushed and took his hand, not daring to breathe. She started to stand when a sharp pain in her knee made her yelp. She almost fell back down, but Adrien was quick. He grabbed onto her arm and held on. He pulled her back up and steadied her. Marinette held her breath. That was close. She blushed and realized Adrien was still holding her close, with a worried expression on his face. Flustered, she quickly let go of Adrien, but as soon as she took a step back, her knee flared with pain. "Ow!" Marinette gasped, and she grabbed her knee, wanting to make the pain stop. "Marinette, are you all right?" Adrien asked, alarmed. His brow creased with worry as he watched her wobble to the stairs and sit down. "I'm fine, Adrien. Ouch! My knee just hurts a little," Marinette said shakily, wincing as she touched her knee, which seemed to be bruised and swollen. "Do you need me to go get the nurse?" "No, that's okay, Adrien. You don't have to do that. Besides, I'm fine, really, and the nurse already left," Marinette said. She grabbed the railing and slowly stood up. Marinette gritted her teeth. She was going to have a serious talk with Tikki when she got home. "Marinette, you're not fine. You're really hurt," Adrien exclaimed, his brow creasing even more as he watched Marinette struggling to walk. "Marinette, how about I take you home? My driver should be here soon, and I'm sure we could drop you off at your house," Adrien suggested. Marinette was speechless. Adrien? Drive her home? What a dream! But all dreams aside, she couldn't walk home, and she didn't want to bother her parents, who were probably busy at the bakery. Sure, Adrien. Thank you, Marinette stuttered and blushed as Adrien smiled again. Here, let me help you stand up and walk, Adrien offered, and put his arm around Marinette. Marinette didn't dare speak for fear she would ruin everything, so instead she watched as Adrien pulled out his phone. He typed something, scrunched up his eyebrows, and then a look of relief. Marinette wondered what that was about as she watched Adrien put his phone in his back pocket. She was shaken out of her thoughts when Adrien spoke. Ready? Ready, Marinette squeaked, partly because standing up was painful, and partly because Adrien slipped his arm around her waist. Marinette, put your arm around me so you don't have to lean on your knee, Adrien instructed. Okay. Marinette tried to hold back her girlish giggles as she slid her arm around Adrien's neck and gripped onto his shoulder. Adrien's shoulder, so strong. Marinette shook her head. Get a grip, Marinette, she thought. Okay, my driver's at the front of the school. He was a bit late and had to rent a different limo. Okay, let's go, Adrien said. Marinette started to walk, well, more like a limp, with Adrien holding onto her for support. She limped down the courtyard stairs and saw Adrien's limo. Adrien opened the door and helped her slide in. We're going to drop off my friend Marinette, Adrien responded as his guard gave him a confused look, but when Adrien explained what happened, his driver just grunted and nodded. Marinette gave the driver her address. He started the car and headed towards Marinette's home. There wasn't much chatter in the car, and there wasn't much time to talk since Marinette lived near the school and it was a short drive. Once they got to Marinette's house, which was also her parents' bakery, Adrien got out of the car and helped Marinette out. Adrien wrapped his arm around her waist once again and helped her limp to the door. The bakery was busy today, so Marinette's mother, Sabine, wasn't able to see them right away, so they headed upstairs. Adrien sat Marinette on the couch and grabbed an ice pack from the freezer. Marinette thanked Adrien and put the ice pack on her injured knee. The tension and pain started to subside as the ice pack worked its chilly magic. Better? Adrien asked. Marinette nodded, too relieved to speak, and smiled at Adrien. The silence was broken when Marinette's mother rushed in. Marinette, are you all right, baby? What happened? Sabine cried. Mom, Marinette complained, as her mom started to stroke her hair. She blushed as she looked at Adrien, who looked like he was trying not to laugh. I'm fine, really, thanks to Adrien. Marinette explained everything that happened, leaving out Tikki, of course. When she finished, her mom rushed over to Adrien and gave him a hug. Oh, you sweet boy, thank you so much, Sabine praised. Mom! Marinette exclaimed, blushing even harder, but Adrien just smiled and accepted the embrace. It's no problem, Miss Dupinchang. Besides, your daughter is a superhero, always helping everyone, and I really admire that. It was the least I could do for Marinette. Marinette was speechless. Did Adrien really just say that? About her? Adrien smiled at her, and if Marinette wasn't already sitting down, she would have fainted. The next few moments passed in a blur, with the same words ringing in her head. Your daughter is a superhero. I really admire that. She didn't realize how much time had passed, but soon Adrien was leaving. Bye, Adrien. Thank you for the help. Help! Marinette stuttered and waved as Adrien opened the door to leave. No problem, Marinette. Hope your knee gets better. See you tomorrow, Adrien responded. He smiled and walked out the door and headed back to his limo. Tomorrow? But tomorrow was Saturday. He must have meant to say Monday. Sabine was muttering something about dinner and preparations as she headed back down to the bakery. Marinette, who realized she was still waving, put her hand down, shook her head, and headed up to her room to finish some homework. Later that night, Marinette was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her knee was still throbbing, but not as bad as before. The ice had really helped. Now Marinette was in deep thought. She was confused why she had seen Cat Noir when she'd fallen on Adrien. Her guess was that she had fallen so many times on Cat Noir, more times than she would like to admit, and since she was dazed, that's just who she saw, out of habit. Okay, that thought was out of the way. Now, should Marinette thank Tikki or be mad at her? Yes, if she hadn't gotten hurt, Adrien would never have taken her home, and she never would have heard Adrien compliment her, or he wouldn't have put his arm around her waist. But she felt like it was wrong, like she purposefully hurt herself just so she could be close to Adrien. That thought made her sick. She didn't want to take advantage of Adrien's kindness, and Tikki shouldn't either. It wasn't like Tikki to take advantage of people like that. Why did Tikki push her? Why was Tikki all of a sudden trying to get Adrien to fall for Marinette? And a little too literally, for that matter. Marinette's curiosity got the better of her. Tikki, Marinette called, and she watched Tikki zoom around her room and land beside her on one of Marinette's pink pillows. Yes, Marinette? Tikki asked, though from the guilty look in Tikki's eyes, Marinette got the feeling Tikki already knew what she was going to ask. Why did you make me trip? That seriously wasn't like you. And if it was because you saw Adrien, you should be ashamed. You knew he would help me if I got hurt, and that's taking advantage of his kindness. Not cool, Tikki. Besides, did you even think that he could have gotten hurt? What if it was him with the injured knee instead of me? Marinette cried. Tikki lowered her gaze. I'm sorry, Marinette. You're right. I wasn't thinking. When I saw Adrien at the bottom of the stairs, I thought, well, I don't know what I thought, but what I did was wrong, and I know that now. I'm sorry. Tikki apologized and blushed. Marinette thought Tikki was blushing because she was embarrassed, which was true, but Tikki was embarrassed that she had to lie to Marinette about why she pushed her. She could not tell Marinette about Operation Kwami. When Marinette didn't speak, Tikki spoke again. I just wanted to help you, Marinette. You're so shy when talking to Adrien. I wanted to give you a little push so you could talk to him, get you guys closer. Well, you gave me a push, all right, Marinette grumbled. But she looked into Tikki's pleading purple eyes, and Marinette slumped. She could never resist the baby eyes. I forgive you, Tikki. I understand that you were only trying to help, but don't do it again, okay? Marinette commanded. Okay, Tikki agreed, and gave a little peck on Marinette's cheek. Marinette giggled and gave Tikki a smile. So, some car ride, huh? Tikki teased. Marinette blushed. Tikki, I was so close to him, she squealed. Marinette put a hand to her forehead and pretended to swoon. She and Tikki both burst into laughter. Oh, Marinette, Tikki giggled. Once Marinette had fallen asleep, Tikki flew over to her desk and turned on the lamp. She grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. Tikki froze as Marinette gave a soft snore. Once everything was silent again, Tikki relaxed and started to write. Dear Adrien.